Oun Abbas Hussain here for Seconds Out, here with none other than world-renowned trainer Dominic Ingle. Dominic, it's been a while since I've seen you, man. How's life treating you? How's things? How's the boxing game treating you?
Yeah, it's been a quiet 12 months. We've had the odd fight. Hopefully now, in the summer we get back to normal. But here we are. We're at fight weekend. There's obviously two bills on this weekend, Friday and Saturday, which is a bit unusual. And we've got Willy Hutchinson topping the bill on Saturday night against Lennox Clarke, which is going to be a tremendous fight. It's going to be a good scrap.
Let's talk about Willy Hutchinson. I've known about Willy since his debut. I was there at the press conference covering that when he signed with David Hay and that sort of thing that happened back in the day. And there's been a lot of hype towards him. We know that he's backed by a lot of big people in the industry, Shelley Finkel and Richard Schaefer at the time. And even Frank Warren called him, the next Joe Calzaghe. When you put all these things all together and you look at Willy, on Saturday night, do you feel like this is the start of a massive journey for Willy Hutchinson?
Well, hype is something what's not real, in it, and there might be a lot of stuff about him, but it's not hype. He can fight. He was world amateur champion. And sometimes there's a tendency to move fighters quicker than they need to be moved in this day and age, especially in this COVID lockdown. What you're finding now is that you've got to provide, every fight on a bill has got to be a good fight. There's no in between, overmatched fights. They're all decent fights, and Saturday night's going to be no different. We've got Willy Hutchinson. He's only young. He's only had 13 fights against Lennox Clarke. Mature, has been in title fights before. Got more experience, and I just think that Willy's got to get past this test. It's not an easy fight for Willy, and he's got to win it to move on to the next level. So we're not going past that. We're not looking and thinking, oh yeah, he should be world champion. Just because you've been world amateur champion doesn't really indicate you're going to be world professional champion. It's a different ball game. So he's got his feet firmly planted on the ground. He's done the graft. He's been in the gym. He's lived the life. You only got to look at the shape of him. It's the first time he's making 12 stone. I think last time he boxed he was 12-1, 12-2. Did it very easily. But this time, obviously when there's a title on the line, it's a different ball game. Preparation's different, and he's in fine shape. I'm expecting him to do a job on Lennox Clarke. It could get a bit hair-raising at times. He's got some power, Lennox. He's been up to the gym. Spot Billy Joe Saunders, Kell Brook, Liam Williams. We've seen what he's got. He can, and I always remember Kell Brook coming back to the corner saying, he's got, what did he, the words were he when he's got some power. Do you know what I mean? He's heavy-handed. That's what he said. He's heavy-handed, and he's heavy-handed. He can punch. Willy's just got to keep out of his way, box him, keep his calm. But it's his chance. He's already been in the 12 rounds. He got bamboozled a little bit by Lerone Richards. And that was his last fight, so he's gone from one title fight straight back into another. I don't think it's going to be his night on Saturday night. I think it's going to be a good fight, and if he does manage to beat Willy, well, fair play to him. He'll deserve it. But I think Willy's going to go from strength to strength. But we'll see on Saturday night how he performs, how he handles an experienced, mature kid who's already been in for title fights before, and that's when we'll make up his mind about Willy Hutchinson.
Dom, you spoke about it there, but there's always a tendency with certain fighters to push them quicker than they should be. I was speaking to David Adley earlier on as well, and big heavyweight knocks people out. I was talking to his manager and trainer at the time that how do you pull the reins in on that to make sure that they're sort of on a path that's sufficient and you're happy with, because promoters or whatever else could try to push people further or quicker than they should be. But with Willy, you feel like the path that he's had so far is the right way for him, especially.
I think when I first got in touch with Shelley Finkel, his manager, great guy, great manager, knows what he's doing with fighters. I think Willy had maybe 3 or 4 fights, maybe 3 fights, and I said, it's going to take roughly about 10 fights with me before I get the measure of Willy, what he's all about. So there's no rush. Let's just build him up steady. And I always remember commentators remarking that he should be fighting at lighter weight. He's looking a bit fleshy and everything else. He's only a young kid. He was only a young kid at the time when he came in 19. He's 22 now. So you have to allow for that growing period. And getting fighters down to weights that they shouldn't really be making can also be dangerous and impede the progress. So it was just letting him, grow into the weight which he was going to do. Was he going to be light heavyweight or super middleweight? And he can make super middleweight. He just took a little bit of time bringing the weight down steadily and making sure that he's not going to be leaving anything in the gym getting down to 12 stone. So I'm quite confident that the progress he's made over the 10 fights, the fights he's been in. You know, they haven't been, you know, fantastic opponents, but they've had a lot of experience going in, you know, lots of fights between them. And you learn off them type of fighters, you know, them top level journeymen. They know how to survive the rounds, and you learn how to deal with the tricks that they bring, and then you bring it into a fight when it's your time. So, you know, Willy Hutchinson's had some great spars. He's sparred, you know, over the last 12 months, Joshua Boatse, Lerone Richards, you know, Liam Williams, a kid in Sheffield, some good kids from Sheffield sparring. So he's had, you know what I mean, he's had some good sparring, good quality sparring with some good kids. And you can see it's now his time to, you know, step out of the shadows and start winning titles.